All right, so 5 days out, first show of the season. What am I eating? What am I drinking? Just got done with about 30 minutes of cardio. I mean, not even cardio, just steps. It was um, walking pretty slow. Yeah, see, training load one. I think it was like 2 miles, 3781 steps. So do that. Gonna get my meal and go train. Heart rate was like in the 70s, barely 60s. So just knocking out steps beforehand. And I had a glass of coffee and one of these. So water, coffee. This is decaf. I use this Kirkland's. So I've been weaning myself off caffeine as I was mentioning. So I'll put 10 grams of this Rutamaya, which is really good, and then about 55 grams of the decaf that's split between my wife and I. So total caffeine content, my guess is in the neighborhood of 100 milligrams for the whole pot. As you can see, it's like she drank a glass, I drank a glass, and then I'll finish my second one. So I'll probably have 80, not 80, maybe 50 milligrams this morning, which is just, I don't need a lot right now. I'm good. And I'm going to fill this up with some water as well. As far as breakfast goes, I'm going to stick with the same thing. Again, 5 weeks out, or 5 weeks out, 5 days out. Good Lord. I am technically 5 weeks out from the show. Um, no need to change any variables. I've been eating the same thing and I'm enjoying it. It keeps me full for my workouts. I'm at 1850 calories. I hit a new low today, 144. So that's been my all-time low. And I'm going with 40 grams of oats today, this morning. Here we go. All right, so yeah, 144. This is August 26th, and it's almost 7:30. All the schools are back in session, which makes traffic a little bit of a pain, but I changed my training schedule up because of it. Usually I was training a little bit earlier in the morning and staying there. I'm sorry. I was staying at the gym until about 7:30, and then I'd come home, get ready, pack stuff, and that was getting a little bit of a hassle because with school back in, I was spending an extra 10 to 15 minutes in the car just getting home, which to me wasn't worth it. That 10, 15 minutes when I can just stay at the gym a little bit longer and go a little bit later. So, um, yeah, that's been that's been the switch. It's only switching training back a few hours, maybe like an hour and a half, really. But what am I adding? Blueberries have been my go-to, and I've been doing this um, blueberry oats with lemon zest, a little bit of protein. So I'm gonna put that in there as well. Oh well, yeah, probably gonna do egg whites actually. And as far as my injury, we'll see how it goes today. It bled a little bit. I don't think it's bleeding today, but that's because I bumped the crap out of it at work. Um, but overall, still feeling pretty good. Not throbbing anymore, which is a plus always. Let's see here. Yeah, it's crazy how right now I'm going to be I'm at 144, which is what I was. at my lowest last year was at I think it was about 144, and I got on stage at my last show about 148 ish. Nowhere near the condition I'm in right now. So even better conditioning than I am currently, which is not too shabby. Right, this is fasted. There it is. There's my food. All right. So this is 40 grams of oats. I'm gonna add about 3 ounces of egg whites, 113-ish grams, 116. Call it a day. What I like to do, I like to whip it. I don't know if it makes a difference. I think it gets them a little fluffier. Also, just incorporates a little bit better as far as heating the cold liquid up and then microwaving it for another 35, 40 seconds. There's a froth to it. Again, I'm not sure if it, I think it adds to it when it's cooking in the microwave. Could be placebo, but usually it gets a little bit denser if I don't do this. And sometimes I would add a whole egg if, I'm going to put it back on. But see, frothed up. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, uh, I do a whole egg, which that matters because the yolk gets incorporated a little bit better. But yeah, so a whole egg I would switch up if I was training and then go into the gym. So right now I already, or and I hadn't done any cardio. So right now I did some fasted cardio, which again, I don't know what your thoughts are, but my assumption is I know people say it doesn't make a difference. There's all these studies, this and that. But most of that population has been non-competitors, non in a prolonged calorie deficit, and their body hasn't really utilized and switched the ability to have um, fuel source from fat or glycogen. And at this point, I think at this level of leanness, my body is able to utilize anything that it puts in, anything I put it in, fairly quickly. So that's my logic. It's my bro science. I don't know. We'll see. And either way, it works with my schedule. So I like getting the day started with some steps. It kind of gives me some energy and yeah, get excited. Plus, time to decompress, go over the day, plan it out, rehearse, do those things, visualize, gratitude, all of it. So this is the consistency I get this to. And I'm going to add some salt. All right. 30 grams of blueberries. And I've been limiting my sugar alcohols. So um, I usually buy this, or I mean, I usually buy it because I have a big old bag. But this Whole Earth plant-based sugar alternative, I guess Whole Earth is the brand, erythritol and monk fruit. But I'll do about 4 or 5 grams in here. What I've been standardizing hasn't been messing with my stomach or anything like that. And yeah, seems to be working. Gives me a little bit of extra sweetness. I usually use allulose to bake and cook with, but that does have some calories. So I refrain from doing that right now. And then we zest the lemon. Super easy. Just get a little zester, find a spot. You don't want to get it to where you're getting any of the pulp because it's kind of bitter. So kind of important to get all one spot and then move on to another. And you'll see it gets stuck to the back. So I usually get a butter knife and either push it through or scrape it off because that zest has a lot of flavor. So a little bit goes a long way. If you like this recipe, let me know. Or if you ever tried something like it. I think this one's about cashed out. All right. And that's it. This is what it looks like. There. I'm going to go eat this and I'll be back. All right, so this is the, I guess, second portion of my meal. A little bit of Greek yogurt with the mashed up banana, about 35 grams of Greek yogurt, 70 grams of banana, and then a little bit of the like naked peanut butter powder. That's 3 grams, and then I'll have these 2 rice cakes, and I'm gonna go train. All right, so I do get asked from time to time what supplements I take. I'll take NAC, fish oil, chelated zinc, magnesium citrate, multivitamin, okay? Might seem like a lot, but the zinc is a little bit redundant in the fact that it's in my multi, but my multi doesn't have a lot, enough of it. I think it's useful for immune support while you're in a prep, and then also, you know, there's some evidence to suggest that it does help with testosterone. I'm not sure how much impact that is, but I'm more the immune piece personally, because, you know, testosterone as a natural, it's going to dip no matter what you do. So it's outside of, you can't escape that. Fish oil, mainstay, never stop, always take it, usually for, depending on the milligram on the bottle that I get. Right now I have the Nature's Good or something like that. This one, Nature Made. But yeah, that depends on which one. I usually take between 4 to 6 caps a day. So 2 usually at meal times or after meals. Now this is awesome. This Alpha One Labs, I really like it. It's a stim-free pre-workout, and it's super well dosed. Like, I'm not sponsored or anything like this. The gym that I work at, they were selling it, and it expired, so I got some tubs. This is, you know, it has your electrolytes, of course, potassium, sodium is pretty standard, but the citrulline malate, 1 scoop is 6 grams, which is the clinical dose, or efficacious dose, I should say. Beta-alanine, 3 grams, which is really great. That's also, you know, a little bit higher than normal, and you can get 2 scoops. I only take 1. The other stuff is not really important to me because I have been making my own pre-workout non-stim for a long time, and it's usually just beta-alanine and citrulline malate. Now this comes in a thing. It is a bit expensive, so I don't know if I would pay for it if I didn't get it for free, but it's nice. And it's 0 cal. They use, as far as the sweetener goes, you can see stevia. So, yep, that's it. Stevia and citric acid, so it's a little bit tangy. Creatine, staple, 5 grams. Now this one, this Allmax, is the best price that I found for a carb powder. Gatorade, powdered Gatorade has gotten really expensive for whatever reason. So I'd rather just spend a couple more bucks and get this, which has a better blend of carbs in it. Um, it's got the oligo, what do you call it? Whatever, the highly branched cyclic dextrin, which is the low molecular weight. I'm going to get into your bloodstream very quickly. I don't take this all the time, but I do take it in the morning when, especially if I have a lighter meal. I had a pretty big meal today. So, but I would suggest this or Gatorade if you can get a better deal. I don't have a Sam's card. I got Costco. They don't sell Gatorade there. So it might be cheaper there. That's the supplement stack for now. And yeah, so we will head off to the gym finally. All right, so finally headed off to the gym. Ended up doing a little bit of cleanup at the house before, just kind of standard. Uh, that's something that I like to utilize when I get some calories in. You know, the reality of it is that as much as you want to accept hunger, manage your hunger, and do all of those things, you're going to have a point in prep where none of it matters. You're still in an energy deficit. Like you're gonna have that fatigue that is kind of like just like the hunger is this constant underlying just thing in the background. And when you get your calories in, you get this surge or like carbs, and you know your meals in, you get this surge of energy. So timing that in order to knock out tasks that take physical movement and some mental power is crucial in nailing a successful prep where you can manage your emotions and your psychological state and all those things if you have everything else in line. And so that's what I've noticed with this prep is just getting into the routine, getting into the schedule has been the 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 game changer and not, you know, not going back and forth on certain things, right? It's the same thing every time, so you don't even think about it. Like you reduce the mental effort that you have to put into certain things, which kind of goes into why I've been eating the same thing over and why they, you know, why every coach says the weeks leading up to prep, just standardize everything. Don't change anything. I mean, not prep, but your competition. Just make the same thing. Weeks out, you can change things here and there, no big deal. But a couple of weeks in, you don't want to be doing that. Uh, it's just added stress and added mental uh, fatigue, basically. So, yeah, anyway, so timing that with house chores, right? Like if you've got kids, I don't, but if you have kids, you've got responsibilities and things you have to do. So plan your meals around them, right? Same thing that you would do for your training. You want to do the same thing for your responsibilities such as that. So for me, like I got to clean the house, do the yard, and all of that. So plan my meals around that. Uh, let's see. It is convenient, right? I did set up that this portion or this. I have the fortune and fortunate enough to set up my lifestyle where I can pursue my goal and dream of bodybuilding and blend it into work and life and all those things. So I work at a gym and I can train there and just stay there for the day. So, you know, I did that on purpose, knowing how this season would be, and then I'll, you know, we'll figure things out from there. That was my choice. But again, this is something that I've been wanting for a long time, and oh darn, I think I'm going school zone. I'd rather avoid. Yeah, so structuring your life around this is not, I get it. It's not going to be able to be done by most people, which is why there's no reason if you're watching this content and you're trying to pursue competing at a higher level or even obtaining a physique that is just unreasonable for whatever things that you have to um, do, right? Like life. So that's part of being a responsible competitor and a responsible just adult and lifter is understanding where your limitations are in respect to the goals that you want to pursue. And if it's something, and it's funny because I just asked Steve Hall from Revive Stronger about how he managed to do shooting content with the full-time job, and he was like, "You just find if it's something you want to do, you're just going to figure out a way to do it," which is totally true. And it's reassuring that he kind of went through the same thing that I'm going through right now is figuring out a way to manage it all. And I'm just doing it in my style, which is this is my style. So uh, hopefully there's some value in here, and I think that there might be because I imagine I'm not the only one trying to do the same thing. So if you are out there, let me know. I'd love to hear it in the comments. But moving on from there, yeah, you're going to figure out a way to do it and how it fits in with your life. And it's not going to be overnight. I've planned this for a long time, a couple of years, and it's worked out. So it's not worked out perfectly. Nothing goes as smooth as you ever imagined. It will, but it's not bad, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm at the point to where it's ah, like this is this is feeling good in multiple ways. So I'm gonna pull up here to the gym, get my stuff, and then I will have some training clips for today. Going to be training around, like I had mentioned, this little injury. So I have been using dumbbells for a lot of my pressing. It's an upper day. Uh, been using a lot of dumbbells for my chest and things like that. So I'm going to switch to machines, and then I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to hold on uh, to the cable grips, like the D handles. So we'll see how those go too. Um, but it should be fine because most of your grip strength is from these last digits, these last 2 to 3 digits. So yeah, this index finger doesn't really engage a whole lot of grip strength, even though a lot of people think it does, but it really doesn't. It's those last digits, is your pinky and your ring fingers, middle fingers that are holding on, are going to give a tighter grip anyway. So we'll go from there. Apologies for the blurry video on this one. Don't know why I didn't focus, but as far as the exercises that I'm picking, in case you don't know, I busted up my finger, cut a little chunk off of it a couple days ago, so I had to modify the exercises that I was doing because I couldn't really get as good of a grip, even though your grip is usually dictated by your last 3 digits. Still going to be limiting, so I'm using more machines than free weights just in case to be safe, but still training the same way. Haven't done a training video in a while, but this is the week of my first comp, so not much is really changing. Sorry for the plane. Not much is changing as far as protocol because it's really just more of a kind of like a warm-up show in the sense of I'm not 100% and I'm still in a fat loss phase, so training just got reduced a little bit so the legs aren't going to be so fatigued, and doing a little bit of upper body before, but keeping a few more reps in reserve than normal and not pushing it. Usually I'm somewhere between 0 and 2 on most of my exercises. The next one is going to be a pulling exercise from here, so hopefully not blurry. So there are a few ways that you can do this exercise. The way that I'm doing it here is going to be a little bit lower lat dominant, more so than the upper back, and I'll alternate between the two, right? It really is going to be dependent on where your elbow is in the finished position. So as you can see, my elbow is facing down, right? If my elbow finished up high, then it would be dominating, or I'd be predominantly using my upper back to pull that. That's not what I wanted to do here, because this is my horizontal pull movement for the day, and I'm going to do a vertical pull movement in a second that is going to emphasize the upper back instead. So I go back and forth as far as how I'll hit the back musculature, whether it's horizontal or vertical, and usually try and get a blend of everything. In addition to me modifying this for those areas, I also had to change it up because the machine that I was using was kind of aggravating the bicep strain that I've had. And you'll see another exercise that I've had to switch because of that. I have been using dumbbells for a while, but this time, as mentioned before, I switched over to this machine, which I really like. This one angles well for my upper chest, and I think everyone, definitely me, could always use a little bit more upper chest activation rather than lower chest. So that being said, I really like this, and I'll probably be incorporating a little bit more, but something about dumbbells, I don't know. They one of my favorite movements, and I like using free weights, so maybe I'll alternate back and forth. In case you didn't know, as you go deeper into prep, you get a little bit more fragile in general, which is why people you'll see old school bodybuilders that kind of switched over to more machines as well, and that's kind of a reason. It's like connective tissue isn't as sturdy, there's not as much fat to cushion your just body in general, so it helps, but if you can keep a few main movements, some staple movements in there, that also helps to retain muscle. As long as you're training close to failure, you won't have an issue with that. But as always, you'll see using the concentric portion as my cue for when the set's over. I think I got one more left in me, and we're calling it there, I believe. Yep, so still 2 to 3 in the tank, more or less, and on to the next one. Here's another one that I had to modify for my finger injury. I can't grip the attachment that I normally use very well, so I put these 2 D handles together, which felt amazing. This is definitely staying. I love the way it's able to move with me, and as you can see, I kind of stay in like this 15 to 20 degree seated back position a little bit to really make sure that I'm focusing on using my upper back to move the weight. And it felt so good that I did a 3rd set, and I probably went a little bit too much as far as I wasn't supposed to stick in that rep range of the 2 to 3, but sometimes when you're feeling good, especially on prep, it's not I only did it with this one exercise, so that's all I'm saying. It felt good though, and I'm glad I found this. So another thing with injuries is that it forces you to kind of modify things, and sometimes you discover stuff that you want to keep and you want to implement, and it can replace what you were doing before. It's a better way to do things, so that's always learning. All right, so this machine, I love it. You can stabilize really well and make sure and focus on that medial delt nice and easy all the way up until the last rep. The trick with this one is, I don't know if you can tell, but if you watch the stack, I'm not letting it touch quite all the way to the bottom. I stop right, keep looking at it out of the corner of my eye, make sure that it's right almost to the bottom, making sure that I'm always keeping it under tension. And if you do that, and also you can't tell from this angle though that I'm leaning forward a little bit, so I scoop my butt back on the seat and put my torso leaned a bit forward so that I can make sure that it is hitting more of my medial delt rather than my trap. It's the same way that you would want to do it if you were standing up and doing lateral raises as well. You kind of want to bring your arm not out right to the side of your torso, bring it in front of you a little bit, and you're going to get that medial delt more than the trap. And the last thing I'll mention is, if you look at my hand placement, I'm not gripping the handlebar at all. My thumb is over it, and I'm just moving at
my elbow, so to speak. I'm really moving at my shoulder, but I'm not using my hand or my wrist to try and move the weight from that lever arm. I'm trying to drive it with my elbow, and that also makes sure that you're using proper muscle. A little bit of arms to round out my upper day. This is tricep pushdowns, so these again, kind of like the shoulder, I'll take it to failure. It's not. I only do 2 sets, and I only work 4 sets out of the whole week, so not super fatiguing. And again, the whole thing with this is you'll see my body. I try to keep it as stable as possible, and really don't move those elbows. Just moving from that fixed position, making sure that my arms are flared out, my elbows are directly underneath me, and I'm able to get a good solid clean reps. Bicep has been bugging me on my left side, so you'll see that I'm not extending all the way out and really just doing kind of like this shortened range pump motion for the buys, which I still feel I'm stimulated. I go higher rep, lower weight in order to reduce my strain on my left side and how much I have to actually grip the weight in order to get it. So the focus stays on the bicep rather than the grip. And the way I strained it was trying to do, which I believe it's called a Zerker grip, where, you know, normally you break at the wrist and you really just kind of focus on moving the weight with your bicep, which is great, but I probably pushed a little bit too hard, and I've strained it, and it's been paying for it for the last few weeks. And that's it, y'all. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. So this is meal numero dos. Okay, so here is my post-training meal. 120 grams of egg whites. This is probably, I'm going to measure it in a bit, but I would say about 200 grams of melon, and then about 236 grams of, I say about, I know exactly, it's 236 grams of Greek yogurt. So I'm going to eat that, and then I will be good for a few hours. And I'll see you in a bit. Gonna work. Okay, back at home. So that's my work day, and getting the last few of my steps in for the day. I believe, yeah, I got about 1,000 more. Been walking for, I don't know, 15, yeah, 12 minutes. So probably 20 minutes total, something like that. 25 minutes. Yeah, 25 minutes, and then I'll be at my 11 to 12,000 steps for the day. Knock that out, and then I'm going to have my last snack, which I've got about 200 or so calories left. Most likely just going to be some yogurt with fruit to round out the day. Tomorrow's an off day, and then I train upper, no more legs until after the show, just so that they're fresh, because when you're posing, you have to stay on your legs quite a bit and they get fatigued. And typically, if you train them a little bit too close to the show, sometimes the inflammation from the training can kind of blur the lines a little bit, or the details, so to speak, from what you would see on stage. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going to see, I think, yeah, I'll probably just show you last meal, wrap up the day. As far as feeling, you know, kind of going back to the meals, it's been good. I mean, this routine, all about the schedule. It's all about, I had a conversation with a coworker, you know, the fundamentals, just nailing them, executing them. If you're a Spurs fan, Tim Duncan, the epitome of the big fundamental. That's why they called him that, because he did the same thing every time, very well executed. And he is arguably one of the best players to ever play the game, certainly one of the best Spurs to ever play the game, and top 3 power forwards. So that doesn't tell you how powerful fundamentals would be. He wasn't flashy. He didn't do anything crazy. He wasn't like, he just stuck to what he did and he perfected it over time. 17, 18 years in the league. Monster. So, catch you in a bit with that meal. Okay, so here's my final meal. Got about, uh, I always say about, I know exactly what's in here. I have this, I've been getting better at just being able to know how much calories I need and kind of ballpark it from there because I've been doing this for so long, but I like weighing stuff out. I don't know, it's my OCD neuroticism that gets the best of me. Anyway, that's aside from the point. 276 grams of non-fat Greek yogurt, 7 grams of walnuts, one little rice cake, 10 grams of this non-fat Ready Whip, 20 grams of oatmeal, and 10 grams of casein. That is to round out my night. And I'll finish that. It is probably way too close to the camera. Sorry about that. It is 8:04 and gonna finish this, watch a little bit of TV with my wife, and shower and go to bed. Probably be in bed by like 9:30, or not. Yeah, but in bed by like 9:30. Knock out around 10. Wake up, do it all over again. See y'all. Thanks for watching. This has been a long one. I will have this up tomorrow morning, which will be 4 days out, and we'll go from there. Might make another one. Definitely going to see you show day. See me on Instagram as well. Putting some stories out. I'll post the live link too. So see you then. Bye.